The CHF Overtime Podcast. Jordan DiLuciano, as always. And joining me now is the Director of Hockey Ops for the entire CHF, as well as the Commissioner of the Empire Conference, Jon Larochester. Jon, thanks for popping on today.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So we were able to get through our first full season last year. How you feel how the season went, how it concluded for the 2021 and 2022 campaign?
Yeah, so it was an exciting year. To think about it, we're actually entering year 4, but due to obviously COVID and the shutdowns and things, we were able to go start to finish for our first season. And I don't know if there's any way to do what we did better for a first full year out of the box. It was, it was a lot of work. It was hard, a lot of little technical things that we needed to overcome with, some of our platforms and processes. But it culminated with one of the greatest hockey experiences I've ever been a part of as a player or coach or administrator. It was a lot of fun, and we look forward to this year. This year is going to be special.
So going into this year, any new things that are going to happen that you plan to happen, or maybe down the line within the CHF?
Yeah. So there's, for people that know me, I'm always planning something. And one of the things that I really enjoy the most is, finding ways to increase the opportunities and enhance the experience of the college hockey game for our student athletes. And, being a person that oversees his own program, his own conference, and now, has an opportunity to work with multiple conferences and thousands of student athletes, I'm always looking to push things to another level. So we are working behind the scenes with some of our strategic partners, and we are rapidly exploring an opportunity to put a national team together to travel overseas. We are looking to, enhance some of the things that we already do. The scope and the scale of our tournament, making sure that experience continues to build and expand every year. Some of our new platforms, we have a couple of surprises that'll get rolled out in the next couple of weeks. That will, again, provide an enhancement to the experience that people have, not just for our student athletes and our coaches, but, for our support system, for our fans, for our member colleges and universities. So there are definitely some enhancements, a lot of rich media type things along the way, and then some competitive things as well. Always looking to expand, always looking to do things at a different level.
Gotcha. So now from the hockey ops side of things, now to the commissioner side of things, the Empire Conference, you have a couple new teams that you added into the Empire this offseason, right?
Yeah, this year we were fortunate enough to bring on University of New Haven, Sacred Heart University, and in bringing over Farmingdale's D3 team from the Met League. And, as a conference, one of the things about the Empire that's kind of unique, and the part about it that I love the most, is that it really is kind of like the Musketeers. It's, we always are talking, we're always competitive with each other, but we're, and our teams might kill each other on the ice, but we're friends, and everybody has the same purpose and mission in hand. And the conversation was, how do we put our teams in the best position to be competitive for whatever the level is that they're at? There are competitive levels here. There are some teams that we have that are, super invested, are financially supported. Some teams are new. Some teams have ups and downs in terms of, enrollment and money and recruiting and things like that. So what we did was we broke our conference up with these new additions into the purple and black division. There will be 2 Emperor's Cups handed out this year, 2 totally separate, playoff rounds, but the flexibility for teams to continue those relationships that they've built over years to play one another and cross over. My hockey rankings, their algorithm is dynamic enough that it can manage crossing over and still be accurate and produce a solution that is relevant for what teams are doing. So we're excited, and it created a new opportunity for us to expand and continue to grow.
Did you say that these teams in the purple? So the the Farmingdale D3 team, which division will they be in? The purple or the black?
Yep. So purple division is Farmingdale's D2, Quinnipiac, Ramapo, Fordham, and Fairfield University. And the black division is Farmingdale D3, Hofstra, Stony Brook, University of New Haven, Sacred Heart, and Southern Connecticut, who we just learned last week, had some enrollment issues and some things. So they're going to, take a hiatus for the 22-23 season.
Okay.
So we're navigating that now. They had to navigate some obstacles, with membership and the school. It was best for them to kind of take a little bit of a break for a season to regroup.
Yeah. Recalculate and whatnot. You told about before. I don't know if you mentioned it. What you just said before. Will we see teams from the D3 Farmingdale team or a Sacred Heart team or New Haven team playing a Ramapo or a Fairfield team?
There are some crossovers. Yep, okay. Definitely.
Right.
When you think about it, the Empire's 14 years old, and when it started, it was based on an idea of competing at the highest level and playing the best competition available, because when you do that, everybody benefits from it. And that philosophy, was way before my hockey rankings was even a business, before rankings and things, when it was human ranking, and you develop some of those relationships. The challenge though for us was, that you might have a team that is really, really strong. And as everybody who's been around this game long enough knows, there's ebbs and flows to this. Some years you're really strong and you graduate some players and you bring in some younger people and new personnel or coaching changes, and you have to transition and rebuild and reload a little bit. So we wanted to put teams in a position where they could be successful at the level that they needed to be, and by separating this way, it allows for a little bit more competitive balance, but people still have the freedom to cross over. So yes, there are some crossovers.
Nice. And speaking of that one division, Farmingdale D3, Stony Brook, and Hofstra, I think this past weekend played against the Delaware Valley, right?
Yes. We went down. Newman hosted a showcase down in Aston, just south of Philly, and everybody, got a little early, but it was a pretty competitive environment. They ran a good time. From what I heard, the boys had a good time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I saw Farmingdale D3 wound up going, I think, 3-0 or 2-0. How many games they played?
2-1. They went 2-1. Yep.
I thought I saw 2-0.
Yep.
I was reading it wrong. But now on to the purple division. When everyone thinks of the Empire, you mentioned them before: Farmingdale D2, Ramapo, Fairfield, and Quinnipiac. Those four teams were some of the best in the CHF last season. I think 3 out of the 4 did not fare well in the Fed Cup. It was Ramapo who really pushed it to the next level, wound up making a good run. Are those 4 teams, do they have returning seniors? Are they still going to be teams to keep an eye out for within the whole entire league?
Yeah, don't forget Fordham. Fordham had a number of players overseas studying abroad, and they have returned. And we have some, yes, everybody is returning players. Everybody is recruited and reloaded. And, that's the one consistent thing, is that, it's there's an internal competition, to see who collects the most toys. So, I know that Ramapo is returning a very solid core. Mike Winters, their head coach, phenomenal addition to their program. They're run top notch, from the bottom up to the top down. When you have the right people and the right vision, and there's leadership and structure there, and then you match it with that talent level, it's scary. So I think that purple division is what we call the coin toss division, because as history's proven, any night anybody can beat anybody, and the magnitude and the value of those games is incredible. So knowing that every night you can get on the ice and lose, keeps people honest and makes the season that much more enjoyable.
So the big tournament for the Empire is when they go up right before Thanksgiving, right? They go upstate.
Yep. So we're breaking news. That event is now referred to as the Invitational at Elmira.
At Elmira. Okay.
Yes, so we will see Farmingdale, Fairfield, Quinnipiac, and Ramapo head up to Elmira to take take on University of Niagara, Buff State, Binghamton, and St. Bonnie's. So there's there's a lot of competitive lines drawn and rematches, and it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, Fairfield and it was Fairfield and Binghamton were in the same pool. Bonaventure knocked out Farmingdale. Ramapo got knocked out by Binghamton. So it's the first time these these teams will be rekindling things since the Fed Cup. Now back to the CHF and overall, back to the director of hockey ops side of things. We mentioned this tournament. There's a couple other tournaments coming up throughout the season to keep an eye on for, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're always looking to do, our conference, the Empire used to run the Classic down in Pennsylvania. We were down there for 10 years, and it was a giant, again, the concept was to get teams from multiple conferences together to allow people on the ranking committee to get a look at these people and develop a parity. So digital ranking now, change the ability, for people to earn those value gains and things. However, when the Classic started a few years later, the Delaware Valley started their Eastern Showdown right down the road, in Aston, and they put on a phenomenal show. They, bring down, I think it's 28 to 32 teams, multiple tiers of competition, women's, but the crown jewel is that they host simultaneously a high school recruiting showcase. So, when you go down there to compete, these member programs have FaceTime with high school recruits. One of the local travel associations or high school associations, I forget the name off the top of my head, but they run a series of all-star games, and you have college coaches sitting right there able to talk to 18U, 16U kids and set up a table and kind of share a little bit about their program. So John Rink and the boys down in Philly run a really good show. That's the same weekend. And then you have College Hockey South does their world-class event in Savannah. Which is, if you follow any of that, it's a tremendous experience, and the support that they get from, the local community is just, it's world class. So, that's one of the big things is finding avenues where we can create opportunities for teams. And when you can do it in the backyard and cut down on costs where a team can, can travel and maybe take a $3,500 or $5,000 weekend and get 3 games out of it, and not have to break the bank, that's good. And it builds relationships. It opens up new doors. So we're always looking to expand those events and conferences to host those showcases. Sometimes they pop up in their little mini weekends, and then sometimes they're a little bit more formal where they're in a venue. So I think that's something that's very important for us to continue to grow and allow teams to have exposure to one another and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And you mentioned before things you trying to look forward to implementing in the CHF. So it was that all-star team that goes overseas. Anything expansion-wise that maybe there's something in mind down the line for the CHF?
Expansion is always, is a cornerstone of our mission. Again, my background's a little bit unique, in that, at this level of hockey is there to support the academic experience for student athletes. And, I had a really long tenured and was fortunate to be involved in a lot of great things and created a lot of great things in our previous association. And when we came here, the vision never changed. The game is the same, the hockey is the same, but there's things that we can do to make the experience that kids have, throughout their journey through college to be the best that it can be. things like you doing what you do. It's unprecedented, you know, and it's so meaningful and it's real. You're an alumni of, non-varsity college hockey, and you love what you do and creating opportunities like that. The Fed Cup is going to be unbelievable this year with some of the stuff that we have planned for it. So, and then, there's fan experience things, and then there's internship opportunities, and then there's some of the logistics things that might be boring to people, but trying to streamline the collection of information, trying to make sure that, we are accurate with our statistics and expanding our partnership, with Game Sheets, with our sports, with Verbero, with Black Dog Hockey, and looking to build new partnerships as well. So there's a lot of things that are going on. Some stuff I don't want to, divulge too much info because it takes the surprise away.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be some cool stuff coming out.
And maybe down the line, again, an Empire, like you mentioned, Empire's going upstate. Maybe like an Empire against College Hockey South, and they jump in for that Savannah weekend for a couple.
Well, I can tell you that I will probably get, there might be a physical altercation if I don't send teams to down south next year. That is something that we've gone to Florida, but that's something that's on the bucket list. Not only for Farmingdale, but for the Empire. I know everybody's talking about it. And, we'd love to, again, it's just building relationships. That's the most important part. You have teams that you play all the time, but going to a new building, going to a new state, going to, a different arena and seeing, hockey in a different area. That's the most important part, because when it's all said and done, that's what you remember. You remember the roadie, upstate. You remember the competitive game that you played, or the showcase that you took part of, you took part in. And, so that really is always at the forefront of the things that we do, or at least the way I look at things. So down south, Kyle, if you're listening, we want to come down.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had him on. He was the first interview I had for this season so far was Kyle Nell. So quickly before I let you go, any expectations going into this 2022-2023 season of the College Hockey Federation?
There's a lot of I don't know, but here's what I'll tell you. I've been fortunate enough to have my team participate in 14 of the last 16 national tournaments. Last year was the most competitive tournament I've ever seen in my duration, or my tenure here in college hockey. I think if you shook that tournament up again and played it again, I think you'd get a different winner. If you shook it up again, I think you'd get a different winner. That is the power of what we do. And I think that people got a little bit of a taste of that. People coming out of COVID now are getting a little sense of normalcy. And there are teams that are loaded for bear. And there are teams that, showed up last year and might not have gotten the publicity or the press that some other teams got. They went in there and they competed and they knocked off some really good teams. So expectations, I expect this to come down to tenths of a point. I expect this to be, high stakes drama from wire to wire. I expect people to be game watching and rankings watching, and the debates over shootouts and overtime and goal differential to, increase even more. And when you hear those conversations and you hear those debates, it means that people are invested and that things mean something. So, those are the little messages I pull out of some of the feedback that we get.
All right. Well, Jon Larochester, thanks for coming on again. We're always in touch, you and I. I'll probably see you over the weekend at Farmingdale's. I will see you at the Farmingdale home opener. Thanks for hopping on the podcast again. Without you and Joe Mazie, this whole thing wouldn't be possible. So thank you very much for the podcast.
George, no more platitudes. This is your show. Enjoy it.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have the show if it wasn't for you and Joe Mazie. So I was
it's yours. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's fun. I have my fun over here. The setup takes a while, but whatever. I'll live with the setup. It's a lot of stuff I got over here, but hey, it's a good time though. Whenever I'm talking to you guys.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Rob, enjoy the rest of the day. I'll be back later with Jay Turcotte, the New England Independent League commissioner. So keep an eye out for that around 6:30. Until then, I'll see you then.